President Obama was recently asked to name one of the biggest challenges he faced early in his first term.
The toughest decision was early in my presidency when I ordered 30,000 more troops into Afghanistan. As somebody who had run to end a large troop presence overseas. That was the first time in which I looked out at a crowd of West Point graduates and knew that some of those might not come back.
It's the toughest decision a president can make, putting a fellow American in harm's way, and he faced it not only in Afghanistan, but Iraq as well. During his tenure, he also encountered the rise of ISIS, the takedown of Osama bin Laden, throwing a nuclear deal with Iran, normalization of relations with Cuba, growing cyber threat from Russia, and it's clear to see how foreign affairs took up much of the oxygen. This is not scientific. My analysis, if I stopped 100 people on the street, they'd say his greatest foreign policy success was getting bin Laden. His greatest failure was drawing that line in the sand in Syria over chemical weapons with Assad and then erasing that line, even though your brother today said that he never actually erased that line. Would you agree with those two things or no?
I would agree with that. I think that you can't say you're going to do something and then not do it, because it
How big a deal were the two things your brother was in great part, obviously John Kerry in great part responsible for, the Iran nuclear deal and the Paris Climate Accords, both of which are at risk, obviously, with this new president. They were historic, or what were they?
Yeah, I think the climate deal is absolutely historic. I mean, if you consider the trajectory from Kyoto to Copenhagen to Paris, it's an extraordinary turnaround for the United States and for the world. And one way or another, that's going to go forward. It's hard to pull out of, but countries, cities, corporations are going to follow through regardless of what the Trump administration does.
What kind of grades do you give him on foreign policy?
I give him an F.
Why is that?
Well, you measure him by his own standards. In his July 2008 speech on foreign policy, he said that he would end the war in Iraq responsibly, that he would end the fight against the Taliban and al-Qaeda, and that he would remove nuclear materials from rogue nations. So he failed on all three of those. On top of that, as Commander-in-Chief, the troop levels fluctuated, in my opinion, on the basis of politics rather than good military policy.
Major drawdown in Iraq,
yeah,
even if it's...
Well, and American lives were lost and put at risk on that. And for me, that's very personal. I mean, my son was injured in Afghanistan during one of those time periods. So I think that while right now the American public is reasonably charitable about all of that, I think historians are going to look back, and that's going to be an F for the president as commander-in-chief.
30 seconds. How's your brother going to be seen?
Look, I think he's going to be seen as a great Secretary of State. I think the diplomacy he did on the two things that we talked about, on climate, on Iran, has been extraordinary.
And he's not done from what he says. Is that correct?
Change the world. He is going to stay involved.
We only have about a minute and a half left. Can I have quick reflections on Obama, the person, and your experience? Forget the politics and the policy. Obama, the person.
I'm going to miss him, Jim. The sort of grace and class with which he has conducted himself in office, scandal-free administration.
It's a very important point.
It's a remarkable record.
You don't have quite as much contact as the bookends do, but you've had some. What's your quick personal sense?
I would say thoughtful, inspirational, transformational.
How about it, Mike Astro?
On a personal basis, I like the president. When I went in with the family for our farewell, he found out that my daughter is an elementary school teacher in a predominantly black school, and he sat down behind his desk and he wrote a personal note to share it with the class. And so, I mean, you can't help but love that kind of thing.
Mike, it's nice to see you.
Thanks.
Colette, you as well.
Always a pleasure.
And good to see you.
Thanks so much for your time.